The moment is now. As the first light of day filters through your room, a wave of God's healing presence is already moving within you. The chains that have bound you, physical pain, emotional wounds, spiritual oppression, begin to loosen. You may have carried burdens for years, moments of betrayal, heartbreak, fear, or anxiety that have weighed heavily on your spirit. But now, you are in a space where restoration is possible. God's restoring power is reaching into the deepest parts of your being, touching every area that longs for freedom and healing. In this moment, Jesus stands ready to release you from every hold that has kept you captive. Every cell, every thought, every corner of your heart is being aligned with divine healing. Even before healing manifests, praise opens the door to God's presence. The psalmist declared, "He sent forth His word and healed them. He rescued them from the grave." These words, spoken centuries ago, remind us that God's power has never diminished. It is the same today as it was in the days of David. Just as the woman who suffered for 12 years pressed through a crowd to touch Jesus' garment and was immediately healed, so too your faith can reach the source of all healing. You have searched, hoped, and persevered. Now your persistence meets the power of God, and He is here to restore, rejuvenate, and make you whole. Healing is not merely physical. It touches the mind, emotions, and spirit. Anxiety that has tormented your nights begins to dissipate. Pain that has been a constant companion softens under the touch of divine restoration. Memories of past trauma, disappointments, and loss begin to lose their grip. The mind, once a battlefield of fear and doubt, experiences clarity. Thoughts of hopelessness and despair are replaced by the gentle voice of God reminding you that you are loved, valued, and worthy of freedom. Even as the body relaxes and muscles release tension, the spirit within is being strengthened, fortified, and renewed. As you breathe in this moment, feel the healing energy moving from the crown of your head down through your neck and shoulders, loosening tightness and releasing burdens. Every worry, every responsibility that was never yours to bear, lifts in the presence of the Lord. The heart, tender and sometimes broken from grief, betrayal, or loss, is being restored. Forgiveness flows where bitterness once resided. This is not an approval of wrongs done, but a release of their power over your future. You are reclaiming your freedom, and your declaration of faith becomes a channel for God's miracles. Now that healing continues into the lungs. Every breath fills you with life, oxygen, and hope. Conditions that have compromised respiratory function, from lingering effects of illnesses to chronic disorders, are being restored. God, the creator of every organ, knows exactly how to heal each one. Your breath becomes a testimony of His sustaining power. As the healing moves into your digestive system, inflammation calms, tissue regenerates, and organs return to perfect function. Stress-induced conditions begin to dissolve and comfort replaces pain. The body remembers its original design and responds to God's word, bringing harmony where there was imbalance. From the spine to the back, tension releases, mobility returns, and stiffness fades. Chronic back pain, nerve compression, and muscular discomfort are being alleviated. Energy circulates freely, and you sense restoration deep within the structural framework of your body. The healing flows into your hips, legs, and feet, alleviating swelling, restoring joint function, and regenerating cartilage. Circulation improves, and every movement becomes easier as your body reconnects with its original design. From head to toe, every cell responds to the declaration of faith and the prayer of God's people, becoming a living testament to His healing power. As this healing energy flows, you are invited to place your hands over areas in need. Your touch acts as a point of contact for divine power, drawing restoration directly where it is most needed. Emotional wounds, which may have lingered for years, begin to release their hold. Anxiety, depression, and grief find solace in the presence of Jesus. He came to bind up the brokenhearted, and His promise is active in your life today. The spirit of fear departs, replaced with clarity, calm, and emotional stability. Panic and obsessive thoughts dissolve, making way for hope, focus, and peace of mind. Depression, that heavy weight that makes even the simplest tasks overwhelming, is being lifted. Chemical imbalances are restored, emotional heaviness is removed, and a sense of joy returns. You are not defined by these struggles. They are temporary, and now leave in the authority of Jesus' name. Grief over lost loved ones is transformed. Pain remains a part of memory, but comfort and the ability to move forward accompany it. Your capacity to love and rejoice is restored, and the heart expands to hold both grief and new joy. Spiritual healing follows, restoring intimacy with God, renewing trust, and rekindling passion for faith. Distance and doubt dissolve as divine love surrounds and enfolds you. Chains of addiction, compulsion, and destructive patterns are broken. Repetitive, harmful behaviors that once held authority over your life lose their grip. Neural pathways that reinforced unhealthy patterns are rewired. Spiritual bondage is lifted. Addiction to substances, behaviors, or relationships no longer controls your choices. You are being restored to freedom, clarity, and self-control. Toxic relationships that drain energy and diminish worth are released. Courage, wisdom, and strength accompany your steps away from what God never intended for your life. Generational patterns of dysfunction, abuse, or limitation cease in your line. You become the point of intervention for freedom and restoration that blesses future generations. As you continue to receive God's presence, the realization deepens that His healing encompasses every area of your life, not just your body. Emotional restoration flows alongside physical renewal. Memories that once brought sorrow, betrayal, or fear are being transformed into lessons of strength, resilience, and hope. The mind, previously burdened with anxiety, confusion, or obsessive thoughts, finds clarity and calm. Fear no longer dictates your decisions, and the relentless grip of worry loosens. You are entering a space of peace that surpasses understanding, a sanctuary within your own spirit where God's power restores, renews, and revitalizes every dimension of your being. The heart, which may have carried grief from loss, disappointment, or betrayal, is being mended. Broken fragments are being knit together with divine love, creating wholeness where there was once pain. Forgiveness flows where resentment lingered, not as approval of wrongs done, but as liberation for yourself. Releasing the past allows you to step into the freedom God has prepared. As bitterness departs, joy, hope, and resilience take its place. Relationships, too, experience this restoration. Where communication was strained, understanding emerges. Where distance existed, connection is rekindled. Where trust was broken, healing nurtures reconciliation. God empowers you to become a peacemaker, extending His grace and wisdom in interactions with others. Financial restoration is another dimension of God's holistic healing. For those burdened by debt, unemployment, or lack of opportunity, divine provision is flowing even now. Opportunities open, wisdom arises, and favor manifests in ways that surpass human understanding. God knows every need before it is spoken. By faith, you step into His abundance, aligning your heart and actions with His promises. As blessings arrive, they are not only for your own life, but also to overflow into the lives of others, creating a ripple effect of restoration, hope, and generosity that touches families, communities, and even nations. Healing is often gradual, and patience becomes essential. God works in perfect timing, sometimes through medical treatments, lifestyle adjustments, emotional processing, or direct supernatural intervention. Every step, every moment is purposeful, shaping you into a vessel of greater faith, strength, and wisdom. In this waiting, gratitude becomes a sustaining force. Celebrating each step of progress, each small victory, fosters hope and confidence that God's plans are unfolding exactly as they should. The journey itself becomes a testimony of His faithfulness and a conduit of blessing for others who witness your transformation. Gratitude transforms perspective and activates further blessings. Recognizing what is already present, shelter, nourishment, relationships, gifts, and opportunities, shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. Even in challenging circumstances, counting blessings softens the heart, strengthens faith, and enhances spiritual receptivity. This conscious acknowledgement of God's goodness amplifies His power within your life, allowing peace, joy, and healing to flow freely. Gratitude is not just an emotion, it is an active spiritual principle that aligns your spirit with the ongoing work of God. As the healing flows downward from the spine into the legs and feet, physical restoration continues. Inflammation subsides, joints regain mobility, circulation improves, and damaged tissues regenerate. Chronic pain, stiffness, or restricted movement is alleviated as every cell responds to God's presence. The body, designed for balance and vitality, remembers its original blueprint and aligns with divine intent. Every system works harmoniously from cardiovascular to digestive to muscular and skeletal. The energy and vitality returning to your body allow you to move freely, breathe deeply, and experience life fully. Emotional and mental restoration deepens as you engage with God's presence. Trauma, depression, anxiety, and persistent fear lose their power. The nervous system recalibrates, chemical imbalances correct, and a sense of mental clarity emerges. Panic attacks cease, obsessive thoughts dissolve, and peace fills the heart and mind. Darkness recedes, light emerges, and the spirit experiences hope, joy, and purpose. God's healing encompasses the unseen as much as the visible. Your emotional and spiritual resilience grows, equipping you to navigate life's challenges with confidence and courage. For those wrestling with grief, the pain of losing loved ones begins to transform. Memories remain, but the weight of sorrow diminishes as God's comfort and strength envelop the heart. Your capacity to love and experience joy is restored, allowing you to honor the past while embracing new possibilities. Spiritual restoration accompanies emotional healing. Distance from God, disappointment from unanswered prayers, and the weight of guilt or shame dissipate. A renewed sense of His presence fills your heart, reminding you that you are loved unconditionally, accepted completely, and deeply valued. Addictions and destructive patterns that have dominated your life begin to break under the authority of God. Compulsions, dependencies, and cycles of shame lose their grip. Neural pathways in the brain that reinforced harmful behaviors are being rewired. The spiritual bondage that accompanied these patterns lifts. Freedom replaces captivity. You are restored to clarity, self-control, and peace. Relationships that have been toxic or draining are being reevaluated through God's wisdom. Courage, discernment, and strength allow you to establish healthy boundaries, fostering environments of support and love rather than harm. Generational patterns of dysfunction, whether involving addiction, abuse, poverty, or limitation, cease in your line. The decisions you make today influence not only your life, but also future generations, breaking cycles that once perpetuated pain. God's restorative power flows through you, creating a legacy of freedom, blessing, and wholeness. Your willingness to participate actively in this process, through prayer, faith, and obedience, empowers the work of restoration to extend far beyond your own circumstances. Chronic and terminal illnesses, conditions deemed incurable, or limitations prescribed by human understanding are all subject to God's power. Healing is not confined to the visible or measurable. It works in harmony with medical treatments, lifestyle improvements, and supernatural intervention. Cancerous cells, autoimmune disorders, viral infections, and degenerative diseases are addressed by divine authority. The body responds, systems recalibrate, and function returns. Pain subsides, energy increases, and life flourishes. Your body, mind, and spirit align with God's perfect design, and restoration unfolds in ways that exceed expectation. As the awareness of God's presence deepens, His healing touches the mind, body, and spirit simultaneously. Emotional restoration moves alongside physical renewal. Memories that once triggered grief, fear, or bitterness are being transformed into testimonies of resilience and faith. The nervous system relaxes, stress responses diminish, and the mind becomes a sanctuary of clarity, peace, and hope. Anxiety and worry, which may have dominated your thoughts for years, begin to dissolve, replaced by a calm that reassures and strengthens your spirit. Fear no longer dictates decisions, and the heart experiences the freedom to embrace God's promises fully. The heart, which may have carried emotional scars from betrayal, disappointment, or loss, is being mended by divine love. Broken fragments are being restored, creating wholeness where there was once pain. Forgiveness flows into areas of bitterness, not as approval of wrongs, but as liberation for the soul. Releasing resentment allows the spirit to fill spaces once consumed by anger or grief. Joy, hope, and courage take root, enabling renewed engagement with life. Relationships, too, experience restoration. Communication that was fractured now finds clarity. Connections that had been lost or strained are rekindled. Trust that was once broken is being restored. God empowers you to act as a peacemaker, extending grace, wisdom, and compassion in every interaction. Financial provision continues to unfold in alignment with God's promises. Those burdened with debt, unemployment, or scarcity find doors of opportunity opening. Resources appear in unexpected ways. Guidance and wisdom accompany each step, enabling decisions that lead to abundance. God, the ultimate provider, knows every need even before it is voiced. By faith, you align with His provision, positioning yourself to receive abundance not only for personal restoration, but also to bless the lives of others. Generosity flows as a natural expression of the healing and wholeness you are receiving. Healing often requires patience as God's timing and methods are perfect. Sometimes restoration comes through medical interventions, lifestyle adjustments, emotional processing, or supernatural acts of divine power. Each stage of this journey strengthens faith, builds resilience, and cultivates wisdom. Celebrating incremental progress nurtures hope and encourages perseverance. The process itself becomes a testimony of God's faithfulness, illustrating that restoration is not merely the absence of pain, but the presence of wholeness and purpose in every area of life. Gratitude amplifies restoration. Recognizing what is already present, nourishment, shelter, relationships, gifts, and opportunities, shifts perception from scarcity to abundance. Even amid struggles, thanksgiving softens the heart, strengthens faith, and increases spiritual sensitivity. Expressing gratitude is an act of faith that opens channels for further blessings. As the heart aligns with thankfulness, peace, joy, and healing flow more freely, reaching every aspect of your being. As healing flows into the legs and feet, physical restoration deepens. Circulation improves, inflammation subsides, joints regain mobility, and damaged tissues regenerate. Chronic pain, stiffness, and restricted movement begin to fade. Energy and vitality return, allowing freedom of movement and renewed strength. Your body, designed for balance and vitality, aligns with God's original intent. Every system, from muscular to skeletal to circulatory, functions harmoniously. The physical renewal reinforces emotional and spiritual healing, creating a holistic transformation. Emotional and mental restoration continues to expand. Trauma, depression, anxiety, and persistent fear lose their grip. The nervous system recalibrates, emotional regulation returns, and mental clarity emerges. Panic, intrusive thoughts, and obsessive patterns dissolve as peace fills the mind. Light replaces darkness. Hope overcomes despair, and purpose guides each thought and decision. God's power restores the unseen as thoroughly as the visible, ensuring that the mind is strengthened alongside the body and spirit. Grief and loss are transformed by God's presence. Pain remains a part of memory but no longer dominates the heart. Comfort and strength envelop the soul, and the capacity to love and embrace joy is restored. Spiritual healing accompanies emotional restoration. Distance from God, disappointment from unanswered prayers, and feelings of unworthiness dissolve as divine presence reestablishes intimacy, acceptance, and love. The soul reconnects with the source of all healing, finding wholeness in every facet of life. Chains of addiction, compulsion, and destructive behaviors break under divine authority. Repetitive, harmful patterns lose their control. Neural pathways that reinforce destructive habits are rewired. Spiritual bondage is lifted. Freedom replaces captivity. Self-control, clarity, and peace are restored. Relationships that were toxic or draining are released with courage, wisdom, and strength. Boundaries are established, ensuring that future interactions nurture life rather than diminish it. Generational patterns of dysfunction, abuse, or limitation are broken. You become a point of intervention, blessing not only your life but the lives of generations to come. Chronic and terminal illnesses, conditions deemed incurable, and limitations imposed by human understanding are all subject to God's power. Healing flows beyond the measurable and visible. Cancerous cells, autoimmune disorders, viral infections, and degenerative conditions are addressed by divine authority. The body responds, systems recalibrate, function returns, and vitality flourishes. Pain is alleviated, energy is renewed, and life is restored. Physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual restoration converge, creating a holistic experience of wholeness. As the awareness of God's presence continues to deepen, His healing extends into every aspect of your life: physical, emotional, mental, relational, spiritual, and even generational. Every cell in your body responds to His divine touch. Energy flows where fatigue had settled, clarity replaces confusion, and peace fills the spaces once occupied by fear or anxiety. The restoration is holistic. As your body aligns with God's perfect design, your emotions and thoughts follow, creating harmony within the mind, heart, and spirit. You sense the power of His presence in every movement, every breath, and every heartbeat. The heart that has carried grief, betrayal, or disappointment is being mended. Broken fragments are knit together with God's love, creating wholeness where there was once damage. Forgiveness flows into areas that previously held resentment, not as approval of wrongs, but as liberation for your soul. Releasing bitterness frees your spirit, making room for joy, hope, and renewed relationships. Communication that was fractured finds clarity. Connections that were lost are rekindled. Trust that had been broken is restored. God empowers you to act as a peacemaker, extending wisdom, grace, and love in your interactions, reflecting His character to the world. Financial restoration flows alongside relational and emotional healing. For those burdened with debt, scarcity, or lack of opportunity, divine provision opens doors in ways that exceed human understanding. Resources, guidance, and opportunities appear, and favor surrounds each step. God knows every need before it is spoken. By walking in faith, you align with His provision. Abundance comes not only for your own restoration, but also to overflow into the lives of others, creating a ripple of blessing that touches families, communities, and even nations. Your generosity becomes an expression of His goodness, reinforcing the cycle of restoration and faith. Healing is often gradual, requiring patience and trust in God's perfect timing. Some restoration comes through medical care, lifestyle changes, emotional processing, or direct supernatural intervention. Every stage builds faith, strengthens resilience, and cultivates wisdom. Celebrating small victories nurtures hope, showing that restoration is not merely the absence of pain, but the presence of wholeness and purpose. The journey itself becomes a testimony of God's faithfulness, illustrating that true healing encompasses body, mind, spirit, and circumstance. Gratitude amplifies God's work in your life. By recognizing the blessings already present, nourishment, shelter, relationships, gifts, and opportunities, you shift your perspective from scarcity to abundance. Even amid trials, giving thanks softens the heart, strengthens faith, and enhances spiritual awareness. This alignment with gratitude allows peace, joy, and restoration to flow more freely into your life. Expressing thanks is an act of faith that opens channels for even greater blessings, reinforcing the reality of God's presence in every area of your being. Physical restoration continues through the body as healing energy moves through the legs and feet. Circulation improves, joints regain mobility, tissues regenerate, and chronic pain diminishes. The body remembers its original design, and energy returns to every movement. Muscles that were tense relax, stiffness dissipates, and flexibility is restored. The health of the skeletal, muscular, circulatory, and nervous systems improves as God's restorative power brings the body into alignment with His intent. Vitality flows freely, enabling renewed activity and freedom of motion. Emotional and mental restoration is equally powerful. Trauma, depression, anxiety, and persistent fear lose their grip as clarity, peace, and hope emerge. The nervous system recalibrates, and thought patterns are renewed. Panic attacks subside, obsessive or intrusive thoughts dissolve, and the mind becomes a sanctuary of rest. Light replaces darkness, hope overtakes despair, and God's power strengthens the heart and mind, equipping you to navigate life with courage and resilience. Grief and loss find divine comfort. Pain remains as memory, but no longer controls the present. The heart experiences consolation, and love and joy gradually expand to fill the spaces once occupied by sorrow. Spiritual restoration accompanies emotional healing. Distance from God, disappointment, and feelings of unworthiness are replaced with intimacy, acceptance, and divine love. Your soul reconnects with the source of all healing, establishing a foundation for wholeness in every aspect of life. Chains of addiction, harmful behaviors, and destructive cycles are broken. Habits, compulsions, and dependencies that once dominated your life lose authority. Neural pathways are rewired, spiritual bondage lifts, and freedom replaces captivity. Self-control, clarity, and peace return. Relationships that were draining or toxic are released with courage, wisdom, and strength, and healthy boundaries are established. Generational patterns of dysfunction, addiction, abuse, poverty, and limitation cease in your line. The restoration you receive now impacts your descendants, establishing freedom, blessing, and wholeness for generations to come. Chronic or terminal illnesses, conditions deemed incurable, and limitations understood only by humans are all subject to God's power. Cancerous cells, autoimmune disorders, viral infections, and degenerative diseases are addressed through divine authority. The body responds, systems recalibrate, functionality returns, pain subsides, and vitality flourishes. Emotional, mental, and spiritual restoration converge with physical renewal, creating a comprehensive, holistic healing experience. This healing continues outward. Your restored life impacts relationships, communities, and spheres of influence. Acts of love, service, generosity, and encouragement become extensions of God's power working through you. Your testimony becomes a beacon, inspiring others to seek God's healing and restoration. The wholeness you experience today is not only personal, but also a catalyst for transformation in the lives of others. As you reflect, remember that healing is not simply the disappearance of symptoms. It is the restoration of wholeness, freedom, and purpose in every area of life. Liberation includes freedom from fear, shame, unforgiveness, and spiritual distance. God's presence itself is healing, bringing peace to anxiety, hope to despair, and strength to weakness. You are being renewed in body, mind, emotions, spirit, relationships, and circumstances. If this prayer has blessed you, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs this healing touch. Leave a comment to declare what you are receiving from God today: physical restoration, emotional freedom, or spiritual renewal. Your declaration activates faith in yourself and others, creating a ripple of restoration and blessing. May the healing begun in this moment continue to flow through your entire life. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May He lift His countenance upon you and give you peace. Receive His love, restoration, and power in every area of your life. Go forth from this moment renewed, strengthened, and equipped to bless others. Let your life become a living testimony of faith, healing, and God's unending goodness.